Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. Come spend some time with me in the kitchen today. It's a cold, windy day outside and I got some work I got to do in here. This year for Thanksgiving, I am off of turkey duty this year. So I'm not cooking the turkey, but I do have a Thanksgiving get-together coming up a little early. And first thing I'm going to make is a sweet potato casserole. I'm going to go ahead and make this ahead of time. Our get-together's not till tomorrow. So I'll go ahead and make this and put it in the fridge after it's cooked and everything and just have to warm it up tomorrow. So that's the plan. I'm also going to go can some turnip greens. Y'all saw how rocking and rolling our salad patch is out there. I want to preserve some of those just to be able to open me a can to have, already cooked greens when we're not having them in the garden. So I want to get that done today too. I'm also going to be fixing some green beans. Super easy. Again, it's for the dinner. And it's super simple. But I'm going to get those cooking today too. And go ahead and have those ready as well. So I've already baked my sweet potato. This is one of our big ones. I'm going to get it peeled the rest of the way. I was letting it sit here and cool. I'm just going to scoop this into my bowl here. You're going to want a couple of cups of mashed sweet potatoes. So we're just going to mash all this up real good. We're going to add a couple of eggs. We're going to add 4 tablespoons of melted butter, a half a cup of sugar, a half a cup of milk, we're going to get all that mixed together. I like to mix it till it gets pretty smooth. We're going to pour that in our 9 to 13 pan. Now for the topping, I'm going to do this one half and half. I'm going to do half marshmallows on one side, half the brown sugar or pecan topping on the other side. The reason being, some people like it better with the marshmallows. Some people like it better with the pecans and the brown sugar. The cook just happens to like it better with pecans and brown sugar. So we're going to do half of that. You're going to start off with a half a cup of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of melted butter, and a 1/3 cup of flour. And we're going to get all that mixed together. And I'm going to chop me up some pecans. Chop them as fine or as not fine as you want them. Alright, before I add those to this, I'm going to sprinkle a little of this over where my marshmallows are going to go. And put my pecans in here. And get that mixed up best I can. And we're going to sprinkle that over half of this. Now I'm going to sprinkle just a little more brown sugar here where my marshmallows are going to go. And put our marshmallows on. When you're doing the marshmallows, put them on. Don't be stingy with them. Put them on there. We're going to let that cook for about 30-ish minutes on 350 degrees, and we'll check it then. While we're waiting on this to cook, I'm going to run out here and see if I can't pick me some of these turnip greens. Well, just pick to your heart's content, and I'll just can what I got.
Just want to fill these buckets up?
Yeah.
You want more than that? Is that enough?
No, that should be enough.
Before I start picking, I'm going to go check out the peas real quick. Oh, look. Look at that. Our first ever fall crop of peas.
Yeah, and they've done good. It's probably because of the warm weather, but...
Yeah, they're probably going to start growing really slow now that we finally got coldness in the forecast. That wind is awful. These collards came out nice, didn't they?
Huh?
The collards came out nice, didn't they?
Yeah, they look good. They're my favorite.
You need to pick that big one back here.
Well, let's pick it.
I guess you want a mixture of everything, don't you?
Oh yeah, let's pick it all.
There's some big greens in here. I guess that's a type of mustard.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if you've been up the road, but have you seen our patch up there where the tater patch is?
Yeah.
That little green patch is really
I
grown.
I can't believe last year we tried it up there and the deer kept it mowed.
I know, the deer don't look like they've bothered that.
Maybe everybody's feeding them enough corn right now, they ain't hungry.
You might be right. Sure enough. They've eat the other stuff that's coming up in the cover crop part of it.
They just ain't touched
But the mustard greens and stuff they hadn't really messed with.
Oh, good.
Well, I just pulled one up.
Happens to the best of us. I mean, these things are knee deep. Look at them.
I know. These are liable to be some of the prettiest ones we've ever had.
They are nice. I guess it's probably that weather. The weather's been fabulous on them.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had the perfect fall garden temperatures. We just haven't had the fall garden rain.
We don't always get that lucky.
No, we don't. And from what I'm seeing, I think those fabulous fall garden temperatures are about to be over with.
Well, it's time to start killing hogs, so it's all right.
Yeah, the weather changed.
Right. It's got to be cold.
The weather changed right on time, that's for sure.
Yep.
I was getting a little concerned.
Because it's miserable trying to work with meat and it's hot outside or warm.
It's also miserable trying to work your meat when the wind blowing 100 miles an hour like it is today. I'm glad we ain't doing it today.
There's some curly mustard hiding in here.
I hadn't seen none of that yet.
Right there.
Yep. There's not much of that in here. I didn't have many of those seeds.
Look at what a turnip green.
That and a turnip?
Yeah.
I kind of hate walking in amongst this stuff.
We kind of have to, though.
I know, you can't get out here and pick it. Guess that's the benefit to planting your greens in rows.
Yep.
But shoot, these things right here are so prolific right now. You won't even know we come through here. Uh-oh. What'd y'all let the wind blow the camera over for? You're supposed to be holding this thing up for us.
The wind's cutting a shine, that's for sure. Look at these. Are these mustards?
Yeah. That's just as big as that one over there.
I know.
I forget which type of mustard that is. That might be them Florida broadleaf mustards.
It is edible, right?
I guess you're fixing to find out.
Oh, I've eat a few misses out of here.
That's all of these light colored ones like that one right there. That's all that Florida broadleaf.
Okay.
They're supposed to be purple top turnips and all top turnips in here.
I've seen some.
I'm assuming that's what this is.
I've seen some with purple veins, so I assume that's the purple ones.
I'd about say as thick as I got them sowed, we probably ain't gonna have much in the way of turnips, which I know you don't care about that.
I don't know. We've had them this thick before. No, I don't usually get no turnips till like early spring. Yeah, if they last that long.
Yeah, for freeze don't kill them.
Yeah.
Get turnips in the spring.
Rocking and rolling, that's for sure. They have done it this year. But see, if I can them, then I can just open up a can if I want some, you know.
Have you ever canned them before?
Yeah, it's been a couple years. I ain't canned them last year. Yeah, I like them canned because they're already cooked and tender, and they're easy to can. You just have to cook them first, because if you do like regular leaves like this, you'll fill up a jar, and then once they cook down, you got like this much in
Oh yeah.
in the bottom of your jar. Believe me, I've done it. No, now this right here, what you call a turnip green.
Is that it?
That's a big turnip green. Well, these are tender. Even the big ones, you can tell how easy they're breaking.
I was going to say that the stems in these big ones are even still don't feel stemmy.
Yeah, you can tell by how easy
they've grew so fast. It must have kept them tender.
I guess so. Because sometimes if you let them get this big, you can't hardly break them.
Yeah, well, that's what I kept saying. They was going to get too big before the frost ever hit them.
Well, they was out here all wilted this morning. So.
I saw them. Man, they looked plumb sad looking this morning.
And I was like, yes. Maybe I should have been looking under them turnip greens.
Look what Megan found.
I don't usually get them this time of year.
I know.
Maybe it's because they grew so fast. It's had a bug or something right there, but...
That's a pretty turnip.
It's as big as my head.
I don't know if it's quite that big. Yeah, well, that means there's probably more out in there somewhere. But that one was here on the edge, so it had more room. But it didn't find no more turnips.
No, we looked, and the rest of them about like that, so I'm gonna leave them alone. I'm gonna pick a couple leaves off this gigantic thing. It's
been growing here for
all
summer.
It came back from our salad patch last year, and it's mustard. Look.
That is huge.
This is as big as me.
It is.
I don't want to pick it all. I want to see how big it'll get.
Does it feel tough?
No.
Those big stems on them.
All I gotta do is cut it.
That right there, one leaf's enough for a mess.
I know.
Do you have enough, or we need to fill that bucket up some more?
No, that'd be enough for me to fool with today.
So 2 5-gallon buckets.
Can't even tell we were in there.
You really can't. Can't tell it at all.
So we may be doing this again in a few days. Which it'll slow down now.
Yeah, now that it's turned cold, they won't be growing back.
Yeah.
After they've been picked. Or they will, but not near as fast.
Right.
These things will grow all winter long as we don't have a really, really hard freeze
or a
really, really deep snow.
Yeah. All right, casserole's done. And it looks fabulous. See there, my marshmallows are good and brown. It's bubbling in some places. My sugar's all melted. So that tells me it's done. And, you know, half and half, a little something for everybody here. So I'll let this cool. I'll put it in the refrigerator until tomorrow. When it gets closer to time to go, I'll get it out and just put it in the oven long enough to warm it up. And that'll be one thing off the list. Now I'm gonna dump the greens in here. That's one bucket full. This is salt. I always heard that helps get the bugs out of it, so any bugs wanting to hang out on my greens. And we're going to pre-cook these before we can them. Or at least boil them before we can them, I guess I should say. Alright, got these all rinsed off. And I'm just going to take my stems, hold on to them, and try to just shuck them into my pot. See there? Now you can use a knife and go through and do that. If the stem is tough enough that I can just pull the leaves through it, I just do it like that. See there? So I'm gonna cover my greens with water, and I'm just gonna let them boil till they're tender. So it'll take them a while because it's so many, and then we'll get them in our jars and get them canned. If you try to can them raw pack method, which you can do, they're gonna cook down so much because that's just what greens do. They'll cook down so much you might have half a jar full. So I just like to cook them first and do them this way. Alright, I'm going to set these on the stove and they'll boil probably at least an hour. It's probably how long I let them go. We'll see what they look like at that point. Now I got to run down to my grocery store and grab me a couple of jars of green beans and go ahead and get them fixed for tomorrow too. I'm going to start off with a couple of quarts. I'm going to see how that looks. There ain't too many of us. So, yeah, I think that'll be enough. The key to having good green beans, in my book, the way I like them, and most of us like them, is to literally cook them plumb to death. I'm going to let these cook till the water just cooks out of them. That's the way I like them. These are my chunks of ham fat that I save off my country ham when I cook it. Put that in there. And I'm also going to put in a good spoonful of bacon grease. Even if you don't have chunks of fat to put in there like that, put you a good spoonful of bacon grease. That'll help your beans a whole lot. You want a good amount of salt. And some pepper. And if you're not too opposed to sugar, you put your little tablespoon of sugar in there, you really will take your green beans on to the next level. So I'm just going to let those cook for a while, and I'll taste them after they've cooked down some more. Alright, my turnip greens have cooked long enough for the canning process anyway. If I was going to be eating them right now, I might have boiled them a little bit longer. But I'm going to go ahead and scoop these into my jar. Now this is where it gets a little tricky, because I didn't really cut them up. When I cook them, I don't cut them up either, so we're going to squeeze those in there. Don't know how many jars we're gonna have. I only cooked one of the 5-gallon buckets so far because my pot was so full. I just did one of them right now, so I'll do the other one later. After we get our greens in there, then we're just gonna take some of our water that they were boiling in and add that. Cover our greens, and a half a teaspoon of salt since I'm doing pints. If you were doing quarts, you'd do a whole teaspoon. So some of y'all are probably wondering why in the world I'm going through all this trouble to can these greens when they freeze so well. And you're right, they do. They freeze well. They're easy to freeze. The reason being is I try to reserve my freezer space as much as I can anyway for mostly meat. I do freeze some of the fruits. Y'all saw me freeze the pumpkin. But other than that, I try to can other vegetables. Especially, y'all, we're fixing to come up on hog killing time. My freezer is going to be packed. Not only that, the steers are getting ready to go to the processor here in a couple of weeks. So, yeah. My freezer space is going to be very, very limited for a while. So, that's why I'm canning them instead of going the easy way and freezing them. Plus, they're already done, cooked. What I'll do is I'll pop open a jar, put me some grease in my little frying pan, and just dump them out, season them real good. Be ready in like 5 minutes, y'all. So that's another thing I like about it too. Alright, Our pressure canner is going. We're going to do these under 10 pounds of pressure for an hour and 10 minutes. So that's why I wasn't worried about cooking them too done, because they're going to cook plenty in this thing right here. My green beans are also done. I give them a taste, had to add just a little more salt, but other than that, it tastes fabulous. Now that is the way I like to eat green beans. So I'll let those cool. Again, another thing off the list for tomorrow. And we'll see what these turnip greens look like when they get done. Alright, my canner's all cooled off. Let's get these out and see what we're working with here. They don't look too bad. I had some siphoning on some of them, it looks like, but they should still be okay. I've only ever canned greens one other time. There we go. They don't look too bad. Well, y'all, I guess that's going to about wrap it up for today's video. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you might have learned a little something. I know it wasn't a lot of outside work today, but y'all, it was so cold and miserable out there. Well, none of us stayed out there too long. Thank y'all for watching, and until we see y'all on the next one, y'all have a good one.